Hello, Stewart's 89. Well, we have some Disney news. Now, this is not new news. It came out the other day. They had the Disney Investors Day, and they announced a lot of Star Wars. I didn't have the time to get into it because I just was a bit overwhelmed. Okay, I'll look at it tomorrow. So I did. And there's a lot. There's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 TV shows and 2 movies. So 10 Star Wars projects. Now, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a Star Trek fan. I watched Star Wars. I loved the movies. I saw them all. Like most, I was kind of surprised with the direction they went in with, what was the 7th film? Force Awakens. Okay, yeah, that's right, The Force Awakens. I was a little bit like, where are they going with this? And then Last Jedi was like, what the hell? And then The Rise of Skywalker was just a whole controversy. I followed the whole thing. So, but there was a lot of talk of new TV series and that, and of course The Mandalorian's been doing really well. I haven't watched every scene from every show. I've missed some bits. I just wasn't able to watch it all. I did some reviews just on the basic events from each episode, but I really have to sit down and watch it properly. And I have to buy Disney and just sit down and do season 1 and season 2. I'm waiting a few episodes into season 2, and then I'm just going to do the whole thing in one. Like, I'm only paying for Disney once, basically, is how it's going to go. But there's a lot here. There's Acolyte, which is supposedly about the High Republic and the end of the High Republic era, or the tail end, and it basically ends before the prequel series. So I don't know anything about that, and the whole point of me talking about Star Wars there was I never really got into the extended universe or the animated shows. I've never seen an episode of Clone Wars. I had no idea why Darth Maul was at the end of Solo. I was like, oh, he must have been resurrected at some point. They needed to explain that for the people who don't, who, like me, who are just fans of the movies and more casual fans, but I wasn't like raging about it or anything like some people. And then we've got The Bad Batch, which apparently is, some people are considering it like the 8th season of Clone Wars because it's just an extension of that story but focusing on a small group called The Bad Batch who apparently were only in a few episodes of Clone Wars, but again, I didn't watch Clone Wars, partly because it was animation. I didn't really love the animation style and I just didn't have the time. No, was it Endar? That's a limited series, and no one really knows what that story is. Like, what is his story? Like, why did he need 12 episodes? Like, he sort of just seemed to have one role, and he served it. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. Ashoka, everyone's excited about that because everyone loves that character. I've never seen that character because I've never seen the series, so I have no idea. I've seen images of her everywhere. I know everything. I knew she existed, everything, but I just never actually watched the show. And apparently there's also the Rangers of the New Republic, and there appears to be, Kathy suggested that basically the Mandalorian, Ashoka, and Rangers of the New Republic are all sort of in the same era. They're all going to accumulate in one story. And it's going to be really big, and there's going to be some sort of big climax, which is sort of like their own sort of universe, or because they're all closely related time-wise and everything. So, and season 3 of Mandalorian apparently is not coming out until Christmas 2021, which is more than a year away. So that's a little bit sad for fans who are obsessed with it. But I guess it is December. I guess it's only a month late. Actually, it's not that bad. They made it sound really bad when I was talking about it. Lando I'm interested in because I love Donald Glover. He is unfortunately the reason why I for a few months was walking around singing the N-word because one of his songs I really like. And you're not allowed to do that, but no one else heard, so it didn't happen. Because I'm very white, so I can't sing that song even in lyrics, that word even in lyrics. And Visions, no one knows anything about that. It's apparently going to be some sort of American Horror Story style sort of show where, actually that was every season was a different theme or story or situation or location. It's going to be like every episode is just going to be, so it's going to be like an anthology show, and it possibly could sort of cover all different eras and time periods of Star Wars, but no one's really sure about that. I've heard sort of differing versions, but I mean, not that far differing. Droid's going to be an animated show. I probably should have mentioned some of them are animated, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you already know what's happening. Just wondering if anyone knows anything different or new. But yeah, Droids, apparently it's going to be a bit of a throwback to the old Droids animated series. It's just going to be C-3PO and R2-D2 going on a secret mission, and as long as Anthony Daniels voices it, I think everyone's going to love it, and why not? I think it would have been more fun to do a live action series, because maybe not having him actually act the part, because he's probably not wanting to spend all that time in that suit. But that's the great thing about it. You could have him just voice him, have some low paid, stuntman or someone extra, someone doing that role, and actually I think they should have done live action. And then there comes the two movies. I didn't mention, God, the sort of big sort of things. I'll get rid of Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi's movie, they had a logo for it, and it looked awful. It looked like it just looked like a throwback to like 60s promotional artwork for like Star Trek or something, and it was sort of like some sort of retro comic. Catherine is sort of counting on him doing something unique and off the wall, and I'm like, no, that's not what we want. We want Star Wars. We don't want Taika Waititi's social justice warrior extreme. I don't know what he seems to hate the franchise he's working in, and he seems to hate the fans, and he seems to like taunting them and saying basically, I'll destroy your show because I can. Like a little child with they get your toy and they just want to break it just so you can't have it. His attitude, and whether he's just trolling fans he thinks is toxic and doesn't realise he's trolling like any fan who loves the show. I don't know, I haven't heard much from him lately, but he really pissed me off a while ago with some of his tweets and stuff. So I have no hope for anything he's doing. I thought for the one he did, Ragnarok or whatever, was an absolute disaster. Didn't take the character seriously, was like emotionally immature, couldn't allow any emotional connection to any of the characters or any real drama or any character moments to happen, because they just had to throw comedy in to disrupt any possible expression of emotion or intelligence or just anything. It was just awful. It was just like a 12-year-old kid doing a Star Wars film, or a 10-year-old kid doing a Star Wars film. Doing a Marvel film. And a Star Wars film like that, I don't want to see it. So I have no interest in that. I don't like him. I can't imagine him doing a good Star Wars film. And now we get to Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I should have gone to before that film, but I don't need to talk about that. Everyone's going on about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Some people are really excited because Hayden Christensen's coming back. Other people are like, no, he cannot, no. We've had that final conflict. The original film suggested the last time he saw him was when he left him to die, basically. And the idea that they're going to have another forced conflict that's done just for the sake of the series ratings, not because of the characters or the mythology or the canon or anything, is going to undermine their meeting in A New Hope and in Obi-Wan's death, allowing himself to die, because supposedly he defeated him. Vader was defeated by him twice, and inserting characters in where they're not really, there's no backstory, there's no, if there's a gap between films and stuff happened, you want to know what happens, yes, do a series in that, fans are going to love it, but shoehorn a character into a time or make a show that shoehorns characters in just for the sake of being able to say, what was the term she used? It's going to be the rematch of the century. That's what the whole series is for, just so they can have those two fight again, because they think that'll. I do smell doom on this one, but it could be done well. It could be done intelligently. It could work. There's lots of ways to deal with Hayden, because in theory he's Darth Vader, so we're not even going to see him. So what's the point of having him in the costume if you're just going to have James Earl Jones, who I met once, who's very nice to fans, because he was here in Australia doing a stage show with Angela Lansbury, who I wish I'd met, but I didn't. Dream denied. But yeah, if they just have his voice, and then they could have anyone in that costume. So unless they're going to find a way to work it out where he's out of the costume, or they show him before, they have to do something really clever to make this work. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute disaster, and fans will hate it. Now, the other one, which is probably the best news out of the whole thing, Patty Jenkins, who of course we all love for doing Wonder Woman, of course, but she also did Monster, which I didn't realize she did Monster when I was seeing Wonder Woman. And Monster is a great film. I think spending a lot of time and money on makeup to make Charlize Theron look ugly and haggard when they could have hired a less than pretty actress who probably wouldn't get sort of roles that Scarlett gets because she's a glamazon, I think was a real mistake. But it didn't affect the film being great. But there are other actresses who could have done just as well who weren't glamazons. So it's one of those things where they spend a lot of time and money to make someone something they're not, just so they can have the star name, instead of just finding an actress that perfectly suits, or an actor that perfectly suits the character, having a bit more credibility. But that aside, she did a great job on Wonder Woman. I think she's done a great job on Wonder Woman 2. We haven't seen it yet, but it's looking really great. She's doing a film called Rogue Squadron, which I thought was going to be a series, but I just found out it's a film, and it's basically about Rogue Squadron, and it's basically just going to be the best dogfight movie ever. So, and she has a connection to this because her father was a pilot and her grandfather was a pilot, and she wants to do something to honour them, so it seems like it has a real soul and motivation and artistic and emotional investment, rather than just, being paid to do it because they think it'll rate or something. So no idea if it's going to go into the cinemas. Oh, actually, no, I think they said it was going to be out in 2023. So whether that's actually in the cinemas or not, or whether it's going to just be on, because this is all about building up Disney Plus. That's why there's so much Star Wars. It's the only thing they've got. Cinemas is just, who knows what's going to happen, who knows how long COVID's going to last. If not enough people take the vaccine, they're not going to have immunity overall, and still going to have things shut down. It's just a huge unknown. So they probably are just going to focus on series, and that will probably go to the streaming service, but there's no way to tell. It sounds really good. I'm fairly excited for it, but Star Wars was great with their dogfights. That was one of the things that George Lucas was fascinated by, was the dogfights and all the footage and that they had from the Second World War. And one of the big problems with Star Trek, and Star Trek Discovery, is that they keep trying to make it into Star Wars, and instead of having the Discovery actually in battle, they always have smaller ships flying around, and they try and duplicate that Star Wars scenario where we've got the big ships just floating, and then these little ships flying around them like little mosquitoes and like dogfighters and that, basically. And that doesn't work in Star Trek. They've even got like book ship, they're shooting that like the Millennium Falcon, and they're just trying so hard to be Star Wars and not be Star Trek. Just beg Disney to hire you to do Star Wars, and go swap to them like JJ did. He's your friend there. Go there, Kurtzman, because I'm tired of every Star Trek episode looking like Star Wars. I like Star Wars, but I watch Star Wars for Star Wars, not Star Trek. So that's probably going to be the best movie out of all. And I do think that element in Star Wars really works, but it only really works in Star Wars, I guess was my point before that little Discovery rant. But yeah, I'm interested in all of this. I do realise I have to do a whole lot of research now to actually be able to appreciate these shows when they come out. Because I sort of thought when they threw away the extended universe that the animated shows were a part of that. But it looks like they're not. It looks like they're sort of retroactively putting them into canon, like they kind of did with the animated series with the remastering of Star Trek, where they featured ships and things from the animated series in the special effects and stuff, and like the Vulcan City from the Vulcan episode. And so they're sort of doing the same thing, which I think is kind of good. I think as long as shows don't contradict, they should be able to be considered canon. And they could have done a better job of having a canon universe. They seem to sort of be doing it for a while, and then I don't know enough about the Star Wars Extended Universe to really know how they've done with that. But I'm going to go. I've talked for way too long, but there was 10 shows to movies and shows to deal with. And I sort of wanted to watch a few people's videos and get a bit of information, see what people thought about it before I talked about it, and I was a bit busy. So here I am. So feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about all this, and feel free to also tick the bell, because you don't actually get reminded about videos unless you do that, and I never ever remember to tell people to do that. So thanks. Bye.